Welcome to Western Wisconsin Journal. I'm Bobby Pominville, and I'm your reporter on the arts. And today we're going to do the art of flower arranging. And I'm talking to one of my favorite people who has her own flower shop, and her name is Gabby Joseph. So welcome to the show, Gabby.
Thanks, Bobby.
And she has her own flower studio. She calls it Moss River Flower Studio. We'll talk more about that in a little while. But first, Gabby, I've known you so many years, but how did you get into flower arranging?
Well, it started, typically as a high school student looking for a job, and I made my way down to Vine Street Florist many years ago. Yes. As a sophomore, just got my license, and they were looking for someone to do flower deliveries. Mm-hmm. So every day after school, I would get myself down there and do the flower deliveries, working with Jim Stewart and Anita Penman. Oh. And, for many years, that's what I did, is I delivered flowers, swept the floors, washed the buckets, started out that way.
Wow.
And then, as time progressed, I would answer the phone, take an order, yes, and then greet customers out at the front. Mm-hmm. And pretty soon I was putting a rose in a vase and,
oh, yes,
gathering wrapped flowers for orders, and it just progressed from there. So I had two very wonderful teachers.
Oh, yes, you did.
With Jim and Anita. So,
they were excellent.
Yes, yes.
And I really enjoyed going down there many times, and it was fun to reconnect with you too.
Absolutely.
So you really had some master teachers.
I most certainly did, yes. Yes.
And then where did it go from there when that shop closed?
Well, we had to take some time off and kind of, regather and kind of, be...
It was a tough time.
It was a tough time.
Yes.
And pretty soon I would get a call. Can you do a baby arrangement for me? Ooh, prom's right around the corner. Could you do my wrist corsage for my daughter? Okay. So my husband was really very instrumental in kind of giving me that little extra push that I needed. He said, you really need to get back out there. I did. I had some time off. I took about 6 to 8 months off. Yes. And, I just picked up right where I left off.
Good.
And instead of opening a retail location, because doing retail for, I worked at Vine Street Florist for 25 years. Mm-hmm. I had a lot of retail experience.
Yes,
and I, needed to pull back from that a little bit, but still be able to do what I love, and that's flowers.
Oh,
so
yes.
Opening the studio out of my home was really a no-brainer. So.
And you were very lucky to have a location and the room.
Absolutely. You've been down there.
I've been there, and you have room for it, and you just have a wonderful place.
I do, and it's working out quite well.
And you're located right in Hudson,
yes,
so a lot of your former clientele can come. And,
exactly.
And I found it.
You did.
It was very fun to be there and see all your things. So you're all set up now in Moss River. And today, I'm excited because not only am I sitting here with all this beautiful eye candy, it smells so good over here.
It does.
And you're going to do some demonstrating of how to do arrangements for us.
Just a couple of quick things here.
Great.
Just to show, people are so often intimidated, and
yes,
they feel, oh, I have, if I call a flower shop, I'm going to get a, big, beautiful arrangement or have to spend a lot of money. And, there is a time and place for that, absolutely. Mm-hmm. But, you can pick up flowers at the farmer's market. You can grow, very simple garden flowers in your own yard, and you can take advantage of those things. And, you can pick up a nice little bunch of tulips or daffodils or a lot of the flowers that you see here. And I'm just wanting to show you that, yes, everybody can do sweet, simple little arrangements and feel very good and proud about them.
And I need suggestions, so I'm really going to pay attention.
Well, we're going to start off with this little guy here. This is a hurricane vase. Oftentimes people will put candles in them, but we're going to get into spring soon. So let's pull out those candles, and we are going to treat it almost like our terrarium, which are becoming quite popular again. They're making their comeback. So rather than doing a plant terrarium, I'm using some just simple river rock in the bottom of this container, and I had a broken spider mum. So rather than tossing
perfect.
that spider mum out, you just nestle it in the rock, and you can add a little bit of water, and you've got a very, very simple, sweet little centerpiece.
Very nice.
Now, succulents are also making a big comeback.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a little early for those yet, but you could do something very, very similar to this look with succulents in the summertime.
Right.
You know, and then kind of continuing that terrarium theme. And again, kind of bringing the rocks from the inside out. You can put a little bit on your tabletop, again, using some blossoms that have, you know, might have gotten broken in transportation. Use those, don't toss them, just kind of tuck them in.
Yeah.
And you're all set.
Very nice.
So, and you can add candles to it. There's so many different possibilities that you could do with this.
Right. Now I'm even thinking of the LED lights. I
Almost,
could see a little bit of that there too.
oh, most definitely. For weddings and that sort of
Great.
thing. Oh, add
Great.
the drama.
That's a good idea I can use right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, nice.
So I think what we'll do now is I'm going to pull this off the table and we'll go to number 2.
Okay. We've got several things planned today. And as you can see, she's going to give us lots of ideas. Wow. All right.
All right. So next, again, a little centerpiece inspiration here. A lot of times you can go out to, you know, thrift shops, secondhand stores, or even some other shops like big box stores, and you can come up with absolutely wonderful containers.
Yes.
And you often wonder, okay, they come in sets like this, what am I going to do with them? Okay, well, there's a couple of different possibilities. What I like to do is, with a clean pair of scissors, I always like to have a separate pair of garden scissors or flower scissors.
Okay.
Just to kind of keep them separated from food or
you
other
have
things
to
you want
do
to do
that.
that, because oftentimes we try and use flowers that aren't chemically treated, but oftentimes you cannot get around that. So having a separate pair of scissors and garden nippers is always a very good thing to do. So what I'm going to show you today is we've got some daffodils here. Daffodils, again, just like tulips. It's springtime. It's wonderful. You'll have a nice clean cut everything at an angle. And we're just going to place a couple of these daffodils in here, like so. And always want to cut things at a nice 45-degree angle. And then that way, it will be able to draw up the water and make sure that they get enough nutrients too. Now, oftentimes people love to have all their houseplants inside and they get overgrown. So we have a beautiful little prayer plant here. Well, you just take that little prayer plant, you trim it up, and you add it to these centerpieces. So by doing that, it adds a little bit of that wonderful spring green that we are wanting to do.
That's great.
So, and then you can cluster that up, and we will add a few more of these, and we'll make them a little bit taller of the daffodils. And so with a simple bunch that you get from the garden, the farmer's market,
Oh, you see those all over.
or wherever,
Especially in the spring.
absolutely, you can just go ahead and add these to it, and you're all set. And it can be done all season long. So we have daffodils here for the spring. In the summertime, if you've got black-eyed Susans in your garden, coneflower, even zinnias. I like to use geraniums inside. Just snip off those geraniums and pop them in here. Transitioning into fall, you can do mums and native grasses, that kind of thing, to give a real kind of a vintage feel.
Smaller annuals would
Exactly,
fit in there.
exactly. And then also for winter, go out there and explore. You know, if you've got pine trees, if you have evergreens, snip them off. Just do a nice little cluster like this. So
Nice. And then you would, of course, add water.
you add water. What you'll want to do is change your water every couple of days. Give your stems a fresh cut. If you have flower food, use that.
That helps a lot to preserve it.
But as a rule, did you know that bulb flowers like daffodils and tulips and iris, those sorts of things, they don't need to have flower food?
Really?
Correct. So
I did not know that.
yes, yes. So
Well,
just
that's a
little,
good point. So the roses do and things like that.
Yes, roses, hydrangea, delphinium.
And you're looking
Mums.
at them right here.
Exactly. They really do require
Oh.
flower food.
How
But your
interesting.
bulb plants and flowers, not so much.
I gotta remember that.
Yes.
That's a good point.
So here's a nice little spring centerpiece.
Very nice.
All right.
I like it.
Great.
We've all got vases sitting around and different things.
Absolutely. And they can be different jars. It can be very, random and mismatched. And that's even
Oh yeah,
quite wonderful also. Depending
nice.
on the feel that you want.
Nice. And the only other thing I'm thinking of is something you taught me, is sometimes you put it on a tray.
Exactly. A charger
looks nice,
or
too.
silver tray.
Charger would be perfect in the different
Absolutely.
colors. Wow.
So, and you could add
Great
little
ideas.
votive candles if you so choose.
Yeah,
So,
I'm good at that.
oh, who doesn't like a nice candle?
Yeah, I do like that. Very nice.
All right.
So 2 ideas already, and I've learned some things new already.
I'm glad to hear
I always
that.
forget to cut mine at an angle.
Yes, that's a very important thing to remember. It really does help with the longevity of the flower.
Oh yeah.
Now next, we have a nice square vase, and what I did was I took some curly willow or any other flexible branch that you could come across. I wind it up and I tuck it in here, and that is a nice base in which to do flower arranging, because sometimes it gives you a little more stability, a little more control, and the flower stems will kind of stay right where you want them. So what I'm going to do in this one next is tulips. So oftentimes when you get tulips, people will come home, they'll put them in the vase just like this,
Oh yeah.
which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Tulips are absolutely beautiful, but with just a couple of more steps, I'm going to show you that you can do a few different looks with them.
Great.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to take some of these yellow ones out. And now, Bobby, did you know that tulips are the only flower that continue to grow in height after they are cut off the plant?
No.
Did you know that?
I did not
So the next
know
time you
that.
get tulips and you bring them home, if you cut them rather short, you're going to see in a few days that they've actually grown in
Oh
length.
my.
And you can, I swear sometimes you can see it happening overnight. It is just
That's
amazing.
amazing.
It truly is. So what you're going to want to do is take off any excess foliage.
Okay.
And I'm just going to kind of arrange this and we can chit-chat a little
Sure.
bit. How does that sound?
That's just fine. Now, I
Okay.
never would have thought of that vine type thing.
Yeah, and it adds just a little more visual interest in the bottom too.
And I'm always having trouble with my things flopping, so.
And this, because tulips, they naturally kind of want to flop, but with this in here, you can control that.
Yeah.
And kind of make it do it your way.
I like the look of it too.
Yes, yes,
It's very nice.
it is. And what's nice about tulips is you can mix and match your colors and use as many or as little as you want, depending on the look that you're going for.
And they're very inexpensive, aren't they?
Oh, they are. They are. That's what is such a nice thing about tulips, and especially most spring flowers is, yes, they are very, very
So you don't
economically.
have to spend a whole lot.
Oh, see, now that happens. It snapped on me.
Oh,
but
yeah.
That's okay. We'll just keep popping that right in there.
Yep.
And in a day or two, it'll be nice and tall.
And it's looking like spring already here.
It is. It is.
Very nice.
So
Yeah, I'm getting kind of anxious to get rid of my pine stuff.
oh, I think we all are. This
Yes.
last round of cold has really.
Well, Nat, we're in the middle of a snowy week too.
We are. Which I like the snow. That's good.
Yeah, it's very pretty.
So as you can see, I'm just very carefully placing my tulips in here. And so you can see with those stems in there, I'm able to get
Yeah.
that tulip to stand up real nice and straight.
Right. And all different heights.
And all different heights. That's another good thing to keep in mind, that everything doesn't have to be exactly the same height. Some things can be shorter, some things can be taller.
Right.
And let's see here. We'll put a couple of red ones in here, and as you can see, it's getting quite lovely and full, so I don't think we really need to use all of these tulips.
No.
And, but that's okay.
So So now you have access to tulips already, or am I thinking?
Oh,
Are they available all the time?
They are.
Pretty
Tulips,
much, huh?
you know, tulips can be available year-round. I like to keep. I like to use flowers in their seasons. So tulips in the springtime.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
And you know, to have tulips in November, to me, just doesn't feel right. You have to have that downtime because flowers are special, and to have them only seasonally, it just makes them even that more, you know, wonderful. And oftentimes, nowadays, flowers are grown for year-round consumption.
Right.
But I truly like to leave them for their season and their season only.
I kind of agree with you,
You know,
that way. Now
so-
roses, I can go all year.
Oh, heavens, yes.
Those are so beautiful any time of the year.
They most certainly are.
And especially for this month, February.
That's right, February. That wonderful romantic holiday is right around the corner.
Yes, I'm hoping to get some.
Oh, of course. So here we have a nice little bouquet with some
That's
tulips.
lovely.
And just cut them at different lengths, and you certainly don't have to use the twigs in the bottom, but sometimes
I
it's
like
just a
that,
little added something to it there.
Actually, I think that really is neat.
Well, thank you.
And the square vase is so different than what I have.
Sure.
I think those really.
It kind of lends a little bit of a modern feel,
Yes,
but yet,
it does.
but yet it's traditional in the sense that you have your beautiful tulips, and with tulips you don't have to have a lot of extra foliage and greenery because they're just so wonderful all on
They've
their own.
got their own greenery, so perfect.
Excellent. Well, thank you.
Yes, very nice.
Well, I think we can move on now.
All right, we'll keep going. And are roses the most expensive, Gabby?
This time of year, yes.
That's what I
Supply
thought.
and demand.
Yeah.
That is what it is all about.
Very popular.
Yes. And, you know, red roses are very traditional for
Oh, yes.
this time of year. And I think what I'm going to do for you now is to show you not quite a long stem dozen roses, but something a little more compact. And I will do that real quick here.
Okay.
So what I like to do is you start out with a clean vase, nice tepid water,
Okay.
some flower food, which I've already put in here earlier.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And then we start out with our roses. And I think what I'm going to do, rather than put them in one at a time, I'm going to design it in my hand as a handheld.
Oh.
So to do that, I am going to just go ahead. I'm not even going to worry about cutting anything off the bottom until
Okay.
I'm finished.
Sure.
Okay? Because flowers have a 5-second rule. And I don't know if you knew that either. So from the time that you cut the stem to the time that you get it into the water, you basically have 5 seconds. Because when you cut the stem, just like when you cut yourself, it will start to scab over. And once it scabs over, it won't be able to draw up any of the nutrients in the flower food and in the water. So that is why I'm going to wait.
That's
to
a
do
good
that.
idea then.
And then just go ahead and take off any foliage.
Right.
And the rule is that you don't want any foliage to hit the water line. So you want to have clean stems in your water because the foliage will grow bacteria. And therefore,
I've seen that.
yes, and therefore it doesn't really make for a very long-lasting flower arrangement. So as you can see, I'm just carefully putting these together here for you,
Right.
taking off some leaves. And I'm starting out in the center, and then I'm kind of working my way around. And I'm just filling in the spots as I'm going around.
That's a good idea as opposed to just sticking it all in the vase and then, oh, I want a different height here or something's
Exactly.
wrong there.
And you can kind of play with it a little bit once you kind of get them all going in the direction that you want.
Uh-huh.
So let's see here. Oh, and they smell absolutely.
Yes. Oh, I'm enjoying that so much.
They are wonderful.
It's going to be a while till we see some of that in our gardens.
It most certainly is. but we're rounding that corner.
I hope we haven't had too hard of a winter, that things will come back.
I think everything should be just fine.
Good.
I'm hoping too. I'm kind of a novice in the garden. Not a very patient gardener, so I like to plant things that are very low maintenance and easy care.
Oh, yeah.
And so the things that I have planted are very hardy, you know, sedum and black-eyed Susans and coneflowers, those sorts of things that are just absolutely wonderful. But, you know.
And the sedum and that comes back every year.
It certainly does.
That's a perennial.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10. All right. So here we have beautiful roses, just nicely gathered together.
Yes.
And then I am going to take a few greens here.
Oh, yes.
Because we just have to. So if you buy a dozen loose roses,
right,
and you just make up your arrangement in your hand like this.
Oh, yes.
Make a wonderful little collar with your foliage. You are all set.
Oh my, that's beautiful.
And then my friend is
oh yes,
the pipe cleaner. Because oftentimes
that's how you're going to get it to stay.
That is how I'm going to get it to stay. Because oftentimes we will use a florist tape, which does take a little bit of time to kind of get the handle of.
Oh,
but
yeah.
if you're going to be doing this at home, you just get yourself a nice little pipe cleaner.
Oh, that's so easy now.
It is. And you twist it on there. And now this is where we can decide how tall we want this. And I kind of like this just to kind of rest on here. So again, a nice little modern look. So I kind of see where we are at here. And I'm just going to go ahead and give everything a nice clean cut.
And you're at an angle.
And I'm at an angle. And we're doing it pretty
wow,
close
you're
within
fast.
our 5-second
Takes me a
rule.
lot longer to do that.
Absolutely. And then here we go. And this could actually be cut down a little bit shorter if you wanted to, but I kind of like it leaning to the side like that. That's wonderful.
That's so nice.
And now another thing that we can do is, if you're not a fan of the tall roses, and Bobby, I'm kind of having a hard time seeing you here.
I know.
So typically, did you know that also that a nice height for a centerpiece is from your elbow to the tip of your fingers?
No, I
and what
didn't.
that is saying is that you can see over that then. So this is slightly taller than the tip of my fingers. So what I'm going to do then is I have a very fun little mercury glass bowl. And I'm going to take it out of there, and I'm just going to cut this super short. And I'm going to pop it in there.
Oh, that's really pretty.
So
I like that.
It gives it a nice little look just
That's
like
just gorgeous.
Yes. It's
What
wonderful.
fun.
And it was very fast and easy, so you just have to have confidence in yourself. You can play with them and, you know, have fun.
Yeah.
Experiment.
And you know, I'm thinking of my rose bowl.
Yes.
My glass rose bowl or my crystal rose bowl would look perfect with
And
this.
if you're not liking how tight this is, once you get it cut to this size, you can go ahead and just snip off
the pipe cleaner,
and then
let it
it'll
spread.
just spread out. So
Oh,
you kind of
my.
have that control of putting it together. You finish it off with the pipe cleaner. You put it in your container and you take that pipe cleaner
I
off.
love it.
And
I'm
you're
just going
all
to turn
set.
it a few different angles.
You bet.
And are they already opening?
They're
since
already
you did that? I thought so.
Well, I think these studio lights have a little bit to do with it.
Oh yeah, we have some lights here. That's true.
But typically, you know, flowers do last between 3 to 7 days, depending on how special they are.
All right.
You know.
And roses, would you say a week?
Yes. If you get them in a more closed state, you change their water.
Yeah.
Keep cutting them. Yes. And what's nice is you can start out tall like we did, and then just keep progressively getting, you know, shorter and
Oh, I
shorter.
like
And as
what
they
you
get
did.
more and more open, it'll really fill out a nice, short, compact bowl like that.
Yeah, like if you were at the dinner table, actually this works better
It does.
because you could see across the table.
Exactly.
Or if you're at a wedding or something. I've been at weddings where the flowers are way up here.
It is.
And you're going, yeah, this is
a
perfect.
Nice look. Absolutely.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Now, just quickly tell us, what are some of these other flowers?
Well, some of
these are my favorites, too.
Well, those are hydrangea.
Yes.
And hydrangea are a wonderful year-round flower.
Oh,
and
I love
they come
them.
in so many different colors. Obviously white, they come in green. You can get them in a true blue and a shocking pink.
I've seen that.
And then also the antique hydrangeas where they're just very, a lot of green undertones, and some will have blues and purples to them, and they're gorgeous. And then lots of times people will be growing the PG hydrangea or the Annabelles in their yard. Take advantage of those because they make wonderful cut flowers.
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful.
They are great.
And then we have the spider mums here, which are just a very nice, long-lasting, interesting flower.
Right.
And then the Volker Frieden Delphinium here, the blue.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
It's
that
beautiful.
Color.
Isn't it gorgeous? Yeah.
This is just great the way you have this already.
Thanks. Thanks.
And then you've got back here a little bit of sweetheart roses?
Well, some spray roses.
Oh, spray roses.
Yes, and some stock, and then some more mums and pussy willows in a variety of greens.
Oh, yeah, and I love that in the spring.
You bet.
So, and then you've got some really interesting foliage that you mix in.
Exactly.
Well, I just thought we'd say that because you never know, people might be looking and wanting to know what they are. Oh, this has been wonderful.
Well, thank you.
Great ideas, Gabby.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed it.
This was fun.
Now, how could people get a hold of you?
Well, I do have a website, and it's www.mossriverflowerstudio.com. I'm also on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
And my phone number is 715-760-2233.
Right. And I've been on your website.
Thanks.
It's very nice.
I enjoy talking to people on the telephone. Honestly, communicating via email can get a little touchy.
Yeah.
Things can kind of get lost in translation. So to talk to someone, you know, person to person is really the way I like to do business.
Okay. Well, I hope they can get a hold of you, and if they have any trouble hearing or understanding, they can contact me.
Perfect.
And I'll have my information up too.
Well, thank you.
Well, I want to thank you for coming today.
You're welcome.
I enjoyed this so much.
This was fun.
And I almost feel like it's a look ahead to spring, and
it is.
Kind of needed it today. So thanks again for coming.
You're
and
welcome.
We hope that you enjoyed the show today. Got some ideas for spring. Thank you.